Well, here we are, out in the beaver swamp, getting ready to set some snares, and I've been asked by a lot of folks how I set up my scented pole sets for beaver, and I thought it'd be easier to do it here, where you can see better, rather than out there, where I'm going to be, hopefully not over my hip boots. All right, so I'm just going to show you how I set it up quickly for you, and then I'm going to go out there and make some sets, and hopefully we'll have a beaver to show you again in a day or two. First thing I'm going to use is a number 14 gauge tie wire. Now you can see the beaver's working on this tree already. On the back side here, he's really chilling on it, and if I was panning around here, you would see that he's pretty active in here. But I'm going to use 14 gauge wire, and you can go a big tree like this, or you can go small saplings, whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter to me. I just do wherever the beaver is at, that's where I'm going to be. And I take my 14 gauge, I'm going to pull it off. And what I like to do is I like to go double. On big trees like this, I like to go double. All right. Now I'm going to be setting this up high, and I'm going to tell you where the water level is going to be and all that stuff. So I'm just doing it up out of the water so you can see what I'm doing, rather than in the water. All right. So I'm going to take this, snug it. If it's a small sapling, I usually don't even use a pair of pliers, but on a big tree like this, go around twice, and I snug it in. All right. On my 14 gauge, I cut that, I put a little point on that. I'll bend it. Drive it in like a nail. Okay? Now, don't discard that. What I'm going to do with the 14 gauge wire again is, because I'm using a whammy or a collar that's a little big, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to bend that over, and I'm going to crimp that down to where that's going to fit snug into the snare collar. All right. Now this is our Beaver 112. I use a 112-inch system. Sometimes I use a bigger system, a 15-footer, but this is our 112-inch system. This is our standard load for beaver. Right? You have about an 8-inch, 8 inches from here to here. Okay, 8 inches, and this is a standard load. You got somewhat of a downward fire, but most of the time it's going to be, even with most standard loads, okay, you're going to be a swing out fire. Boom. Now, because of our beaver, when the beaver are swimming, especially when they're swimming, the bottom of their chest is just a little bit lower, if you will, in the water than their neck. All right? So I want a downward fire. So in other words, if I have this loop here, and it's hanging here, and a beaver comes through, a lot of times you're going to catch your beaver here because his neck swam through, and then his body hits right here. Okay? Then it comes out and it catches there. All right? So what we do is, on my beaver, I put in what we call our double load. All right? And what we do, I'm going to set my lock on a 11 or 1. Most guys want to go on a 10 or 2, but look what happens on a 10 and 2. On any load. On any standard load, you're going to get that on a 10 and 2. All right? I want it on a 11 or 1. I'm going to come out. I'm going to close this loop all the way down. And about an inch and a half or so, I'm going to make my bend. I'm going to open it up, and from that bend, I'm going to come down 8 inches. I'm going to make another bend. And this is what we have our ugly load. that is our double load. And what happens is when that beaver's chin hits this, it goes right on down. Now, this is 112, so I could anchor out to something out there. I want him away from this if I can get him. Or I can go right around this if I wanted to. Okay? But this 112, we'll just say that we anchored out here on another tree. So I've got all this here. Our beaver snare has a inline barrel swivel. That's to keep this free movement. I want the beaver, if this is all high water, I want that beaver swimming around out there. I want him having a good old time out there. He's not getting tangled up or anything like that. So I'm simply going to come here. I'm going to go to the loop that I think I need, which is probably about that, like that. All right. That's a good loop for the beaver. I come in. I stick it in my whammy. And I butt this right up against the tree. Right against the tree. Now, how I'm going to set this is going to be right against the tree, and I want my water level halfway. The typical snared pole set, 2/3 under, 1/3 above. Okay? We're going to do that differently on my double load. We're going to go, the water level is going to be halfway through. So on an 8-inch loop, that gives me 4 inches. So that's going to hit him right here. And when he comes through and hits that, we got him. Got a neck catch, or sometimes you got a shoulder catch. But most of the time we have him caught right around the neck. Now I'm going to take my scent. And where a lot of guys, this is where I differ from a lot of folks. All right. A lot of folks are going to tell you to take the scent and put it a foot high, or 8 inches or higher than the snare. I don't do that. I take the scent and I put it right in the middle of that loop, right above the water level. Wherever that water level is, about an inch or so above that water level, is where I'm putting that scent. Now, another little trick that I do, if I have to, is we'll take a stick, if I can find one here. I'm going to lose my lure. Not going to do that. I'll take a green stick, and I like it green. You can use white or anything like that. And I'm simply going to put the lure right on top of that, and I'll shove that stick down in there to where it's just about where it should be also, right there. All right, and your water level's right here. All right, so it's going to be a little higher. My water level's right here. It's right at the water level. It's seeping out. It's getting out there. There's enough on it. Still put a little bit on the tree if you want to. Okay. You don't have to use a lot. If you get upwind or up water, up current. If you get up current of where the beaver at, they'll smell this. I'll probably have a beaver here tonight. There's a lot of chewing going on in here. Right. So this is how we do our scented pole set or scented tree set. I've done it on trees this big. Do it on a tree like this. I can do it on a sapling. Whatever you want to do. Just make sure you're anchored good. Okay?